and thank you guys for joining, is just talk about some of the things that are available from an Azure security uh, standpoint. And one of the things that we talk about, and just part of this is just helping our customers become aware of all of the options that are available to them, especially if they are using. And we've just recently changed the names. So we'll be talking about Azure Security Center, but we've just rebranded everything to just more widely adopt the Defender name. So Azure Security Center is now called Microsoft Defender for Cloud, and there's a couple of different levels inside of Azure. One is the free tier, which we'll talk about today, and then I'll mention some of the other components from that as well that we can talk about. And I think it's important because there's a lot of things that you can take advantage of if you already haven't. And one of the things that we can do as an account team is set up some. We have a regular program that we can offer free of charge to go through this in more depth with your particular environment. And we typically have it's a 4 sessions over an hour just to walk through this, talk about some of the functionality and what are you taking advantage of. But there's 3 main things that Defender for Cloud can do. One is continually assess your environment. So it looks at vulnerabilities, compares your security posture, makes recommendations, and we can set that up so that you can see it on a real-time basis. And I'll talk more about that when we get into the demo. The other piece also is from a secure standpoint. So a lot of times when you move to Azure, customers aren't kind of like, where do I start? So similar to what we have from a secure score standpoint, we have recommendations and a way to view where you are and how to apply some additional protections, basically to harden your environment. And then the other piece is we have a variety of uh, Defender products that can be enabled for your Azure resources, things like Azure for SQL, Kubernetes, and containers that are just, you know, in the environment that can be turned on from from an on-off switch and give you some additional insight into what's running inside of your Azure environment. So the continuous assessment I mentioned is really just same as the concept of a secure score, right? It's a way to see quickly red light, green light concept from a dashboard standpoint. So you can not only see where you are, how are you doing in relation to other size customers, and even target it down to an organization. So I can see, how we compare to other government customers. The recommendations gives you itemized list of things that you can turn on and also what impact that'll have on your resources. So I can see based on this recommendation, I have 3 machines that need to be enabled or I need to pay attention to. There's also a quick way for a lot of these to just click, right? Click on fix it and turn it on. And then the security alerts, the Defender part, we'll walk through. So I have a demo, but I just wanted to just give you a quick overview of what these parts are. This is what it looks like. One of the things that we can do is also create individual policies. So if there are things that you want to kind of assess your environment for, we have things like PCI and NIST, high trust, and a variety of others that we can turn and create a policy for the individual subscriptions so that you can see where you are and also have a ability to just generate a report to quickly show where you are, what needs to be applied, or any remediations. So I'll show you that once we get inside. This is what Secure Score looks like from the Azure standpoint. We're looking at different silos, SQL Server from your network, from an application standpoint, and from an access. What is the roles that are associated that have different levels of management within inside those, and we can see those all from within the Secure Score area. So one of the things that I wanted to just quickly show you is this is what if you haven't used the Secure Score piece before I'll show you. And again, if you wanted to spend more time with this, just please reach out to the account team or me, and we'll set up some more time to go in more depth. But as you can see, this gives you the secure score, gives you your overall health, and also specific recommendations that you can see. One of the kind of cool things, and this is sort of a gamification of security, is we'll tell you how much this recommendation will increase your score, right? So if you want to see how you're doing over time, are we going in the right direction? All of that is available to from the secure score area to see. And this way you can use this as an ongoing assessment to see if we're applying the right things or does this make sense for our environment. Quickly, though, I just want to talk about Secure Score because we use that term. So we're talking about Secure Score in Defender for Cloud. That's looking at your Azure security posture, and they both do the uh, same functionality. In Secure Score, we call that your improvement actions. It'll give you things you can do, turn on things like MFA, harden your resources. From an Azure Secure Score, same concept, but we're looking at, instead of looking at your tenant, we're looking at each individual's subscription. A lot of our customers enable multiple subscriptions based on, what environment, where the applications live. So this is it's the same concept. Just, I wanted to make sure that we differentiate between the two. And we have other secure scores as well. We have a secure score for identity, for your cloud environment, for your endpoints. If you're using some of the other Defender products, they have a similar concept. So again, this is one way for us to kind of provide some guidance and some easy to use metrics to be able to see what your security is overall. So we'll talk about everything today, but what really the idea behind this session was just if you weren't aware of this functionality that's in Azure, we'll do a quick flyby. There is a free tier, so you can use this right off the bat, and then you can turn on some advanced functionality as part of this. So if we wanted to get deeper into the regulatory components, and then also if we wanted to start to enable some of the other additional workload protections, it's there. So again, it's free for the first 30 days. If this is something that you want to spend some more time with or enable it in your environment, we're happy to schedule those sessions as well to kind of show you what it can do for your piece. So let's dive into what this looks like and give you a kind of a walkthrough. So let me just go ahead and switch over to my environment, and I'm going to share. Okay, can everybody see this?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is Defender for Cloud. You access this through your cloud, your Azure portal. If you don't have it right at the top, you can search for it and bookmark it. So we just pick Defender for Cloud here. When we log in, you'll see what your secure score is. In this environment, I have two subscriptions, so I'm looking at two secure scores, one corresponding to each one. Overall, I can see that I have 33%, so I have a way to go. Also, when we talk about the compliance, right now I'm comparing my environment to the Microsoft Azure Security Benchmark, which is a combination of some of the NIST and the Microsoft best practices, and I have options here too, and I'll show you how to improve your score. And then we do bubble up some of the most prevalent. You can see, at a easy glance, what happened, what things need to be turned on, and then here, when I talked about how does each one of these recommendations impact your environment, turning on MFA here will add 22% or 10 points. So you can see kind of at a quick view, where are you and some of the things that you want to be able to enable. So let's take a look at Secure Score and let's see how can we improve my score. So right now I'm looking at 33% overall. I have two subscriptions. One is at 29 and 33. And If I want to view the recommendations for that, I'll just go into here, and this will tell me what I need to do, and also my score increase, and also what is that direct impact on my environment. So for example, if I click on enable MFA, this will tell me that I need to enable MFA, or should enable MFA on the accounts with owner permissions. And this will tell me, then gives me a description. It'll also give me step-by-step instructions on how to do this, right? So it makes it pretty handy to be able to not only see what you need to do, but how to do it. If you're using things from maybe another MFA or some other type of control, you do have the ability to create an exemption so that you're not getting, kind of dinged on this every time. I can say exempt this, or we can also, look at the policy definition. So if I wanted to create or modify this policy, we have the ability to create your own, and use this as a base for some other pieces as well. So if we go back to Secure Score, and I'll look at some of the other components, here I can see some that I already have in place. I can here I have enable logging. So this is pretty comprehensive about how to look at this. And you can see this again. You can just turn this on. If I want to look at my compliance, so right now I'm comparing myself to the Azure Security Benchmark. I can look and see here overall. This is things that I need to turn on. So if I want to just do this real quickly, I'll enable everything, and by the control gives me the information about what the individual control is, and then breaks out, since this is a cloud environment, we'll break out each of the controls to see, is this a customer responsibility? Because we don't manage the, the individual resources. Is this a customer responsibility, or is this something that Microsoft would be able to turn on? Let me just go ahead and, excuse me 1 minute, admit some more people. Since I'm doing this on my own here, if you have questions, just please jump in. I'm not monitoring the chat as we go, so just feel free to come off mute if you're on mute, and let me know if there's any questions that you have. So for example, here, looking at network security, this responsibility is we should harden the network ports. This will tell me, not only from a lateral, from a MITRE standpoint, right? What would this affect, right? So if you're using a MITRE framework for consistency for your security reporting, this will tell you that. It can tell me what resources. So these are the Azure machines in my environment that need to be remediated. And again, I have the ability to look at what we need to do to enable some of those. Okay. So that's from a regulatory standpoint. One of the other things that I also wanted to mention is from here, this is the basic, level that you have available to you now. If you're not using it, maybe take a look at it. But if we wanted to look at some of the additional protections, and again, this is the Defender pieces. So this is what you can do. We have Defender products for storage, for DNS, for Key Vault, for Azure SQL. So if you're running, SQL databases not only on premise, we can use Defender to protect on premise as well as in the cloud, and also for servers. We have a similar product that maybe some of you are familiar with, Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, that from from your clients, right, your end users, but also we have this protection that we can enable on for our servers as well. So these can be enabled at the resource level or at the subscription. And I can see here, I'll just give you an example of, we have Defender for SQL. I have a SQL database in here. I'm also getting that same view of what is running, what are some of the recommendations. Right, so I can see here I have 4 databases that we're looking at that are protected by Defender. If I take a look at that, I can then go start to see what vulnerabilities apply to this database, right? So, and again, uh, list not only the vulnerability itself, what database do we have, what category? So this is surface area reduction. So this is just overall hardening of the database. And again, I can see information about it and how to remediate. Okay. So all of these workload protections can just be turned on. If I look at my vulnerability management for my servers, I can see here that I have a few machines that require some updates. The freshness level is how often do we check this, right? So every 24 hours, we'll go ahead and take a look at that. And again, you do have the ability from within here to exempt, right? So if there's some things that you want to set or take a look at, that's different from using Microsoft, you can change all that out as well. Any questions so far? Is anybody already using this?
I believe we're using Defender at DC Water.
Okay, great. So when we look at all the recommendations, one of the things that you can look at too, and this is what kind of makes it easy or unique to do, is I can see the recommendations. Any of them that have this Thunderbolt, this gives you the ability to apply a quick fix. So instead of having to go in and manually do it, I can actually take advantage of the fix here and pick what machines I want to use to trigger. And I can go ahead and just apply this, and then it'll run the script. Makes the management of the machines a lot easier by having this functionality built in. There's also the other component here that if I look at those recommendations, um, I can also see not only is there a quick fix, but also how does that apply to my policy? So here, um, you can also say, as a going forward, that if I do put any additional, here, for example, any SQL databases in Azure, we can automatically um, say anything going forward will automatically have this remediated. So we can build this policy so that it continually looks and say, okay, well, I've looked at my initial base. I don't want anything that's created to have this vulnerability or this remediation that should be applied, and I can go ahead and just edit my policy on the fly. Again, a lot of different functionality here that you can look at. The other piece is also I can also enforce this. So Azure Backup should be enabled from here. So now I can just right from here go and see this policy recommendation and enforce it and turn it on. And then anything that has been deployed that's covered under the policy. So anything that has that Azure security baseline will enforce this and automatically turn it on. Okay, so we could set that up and change the parameters based on what you want it to apply to. The other piece here, well, if we look at the regulatory compliance, if I look at right now, I have the Azure security benchmark in here, but if we also wanted to look at some of the other ones that we have, I can add additional policies. Let me go open those up for you here. Did I add them? Oh, from the subscription, so I can apply different subscriptions to each one. From a subscription standpoint, this is how you would turn this on. So we can do it from a subscription level. Like I showed you in that slide, you get the secure score and the continuous assessment and the recommendations as part of the subscription. If I wanted to turn on the individual Defender components, I can do that right from here. And then you have the ability to apply that to a subscription, to a resource area if you wanted to be a little bit more granular. Here are the security pieces that we have out of the box, right? So we have the Azure Security benchmark, PCI, ISO, and SOC, and then as part of the if you add on the premium part, you get the NIST 853, 171, and then some of the additional ones as well. Each one of these compliance pieces comes with the ability to look at. Let me see if I can just show you what the rules are, what the controls are, where do they match, so that you have then the ability to look at what you're doing. You can also download these reports if you apply these policies. So if I wanted to just take a look, if I'm using Dynamics, these are pre-generated reports based on the continual assessment. So from here, you get a pretty comprehensive report of what's turned on, how do you apply that, and kind of where you fall in the assessment. Okay. Okay, so we have about 5 minutes left. Like I said, this was just a quick flyby of Azure Defender for Cloud and the security recommendations and some of the things that if you weren't aware of, how they can be applied. If you do want to dig into this deeper, please reach out to me or the account team. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the call, we do have a kind of a 4 session deeper dive that we can help you enable this in your environment, better understand what the options are, and help you leverage the functionality if you're not using it already. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts before we wrap? I know we just scheduled this for 30 minutes as a quick overview, but I thank everybody for taking time to join.
Sorry, I joined late. Does this require a license? Do we need to purchase a license for this?
So if you are using Azure, have an Azure subscription, this is part of that. You do have the the free version that I mentioned that gives you the secure score and the recommendations, and then there is the the other add-on part where we can apply the vulnerability management and also the Defender products individually, depending on what you want to turn on.
So the add-on, there's a cost with it?
There is.
Okay. Does the Defender has an extension towards SharePoint and OneDrive, or this is just for Azure itself?
This is for Azure, specific to the resources that are running in Azure.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah, and I'm happy to if you want to schedule time for deeper discussion of it, we can dive into all of the different options.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Okay. Anyone else? If not, I do have we recorded this session, so I will we'll make this available, and if anybody wants to follow up, please reach out to your account team or to me or individually, and I'm happy to provide any further follow up.
Thank you, Ken.